Imagine washing your face with cold animal fat, campfire ashes, and stale urine. Yes, seriously. Forget your fancy lavender cleansers. For centuries, taking a bath wasn't a relaxing skincare routine, it was a greasy, gross chemical experiment using literal Sunday barbecue leftovers. We're talking ancient Babylonians boiling mystery meat, people scraping rancid olive oil off their skin with sharp metal sticks, even European royals who thought touching water was a literal death sentence. So, how did humanity go from wiping off grease with metal to the billion-dollar foaming skincare empires of today? Let's scrub away the dirt and uncover the bizarre, smelly, and absolutely wild history of soap. Welcome back to BrainBoost English Podcast, where we learn English by diving into the weirdest, wildest, and most unbelievable corners of human history. I am your host, and today you might want to hold your breath, because things are about to get incredibly stinky. Make sure you are sitting comfortably, hopefully after a nice, warm shower, as we take a journey back in time to explore how our ancestors handled their hygiene. Let us rewind the clock, way back. We are traveling to ancient Babylon around the year 2800 BC. Picture a muddy riverbank. The desert sun is beating down relentlessly, and scattered along the water are these large, heavy clay pots bubbling fiercely over open fires. Inside these pots is a suspicious, thick, gooey mixture of boiled animal fats, mostly from cows or sheep, combined with alkaline wood ash. The smell? Let us just say it was not exactly a blooming spring garden. It smelled intensely like a burnt barbecue gone horribly wrong, mixed with a harsh, burning chemical odor. This bizarre, sludgy concoction is actually the earliest recorded recipe for something resembling soap. But here is the fascinating kicker. The Babylonians were not using this to get ready for a hot date or to achieve glowing skin. Oh no. They used this greasy paste primarily as an industrial cleaner to wash raw sheep wool before dyeing it, or sometimes it was applied as a harsh, stinging ointment for severe skin diseases. Putting that abrasive stuff on your face? Absolutely not. Humanity at this point still preferred being a little crusty over rubbing caustic animal lard directly into their pores. Moving forward a bit, the ancient Egyptians, who were basically the absolute icons of ancient beauty and personal grooming, stepped the game up just a little bit. Around 1500 BC, the Ebers Papyrus, a famous medical document, reveals that they mixed animal and vegetable oils with alkaline salts to create a soap-like substance. They were definitely cleaner than most, washing themselves regularly, but this soapy mixture was still mostly reserved for medicinal purposes, treating sores or washing their fine linen clothes. The modern concept of a refreshing morning shower with a nice, smooth bar of soap was still thousands of years away from becoming a daily reality. Now, let us fast forward and move over to the Mediterranean. The ancient Greeks and Romans are world famous for their magnificent, sprawling public baths. You would naturally think these people, who built literal marble palaces dedicated entirely to bathing, would have invented the ultimate luxury soap. Nope. Their cleaning routine was, quite frankly, a sensory nightmare. When a respectable Roman citizen wanted to get clean, they did not lather up with bubbles. Instead, they stripped down and covered their entire body in olive oil. Then, they would go work out, lift weights, wrestle in the dust, or sit in a sweltering hot room to work up a massive, dripping sweat. The expensive olive oil would mix with their heavy sweat, the dead skin cells peeling off their bodies, and the everyday street dirt to form a thick, greasy gray mud on their skin. And then came the magic tool, the strigil. A strigil was a curved metal blade. Yes, a sharp metal stick. They would literally scrape this thick mud off their bodies. Scrape, scrape, scrape. It was essentially extreme exfoliation, And speaking of sensory nightmares, remember that healthy splash of stale urine I mentioned at the very beginning? I did not forget about it. While the Romans were busy scraping oil off their skin, they had a completely different, eye-watering method for washing their clothes. The Roman Empire relied on a vast city-wide network of public pee pots. People would relieve themselves on the streets, and laundry workers, known as fulones, would collect the stale liquid. Why? Because old urine is packed with ammonia, which is an incredibly powerful natural bleaching agent and grease solvent. These workers would literally stand in giant vats filled with dirty togas and fermented human pee, stomping on the clothes barefoot for hours to break down the stains. So, while their majestic marble statues looked pristine and glowing, their ancient laundromats smelled exactly like a neglected highway restroom on a scorching hot summer day. But wait, because history always finds a way to get weirder. If you were a famous superstar gladiator fighting in the Colosseum,
your sweat was considered a highly valuable commodity. The attendants working at the public baths would meticulously scrape the dirt, oil, and sweat off the muscular bodies of these top-tier fighters. They would collect this grotesque bodily fluid in little glass vials and sell it at a premium price. Wealthy Roman women would buy this gladiator sweat and use it as an expensive face cream, hoping it would make them irresistible and transfer the warrior's strength to them. Let that sink in for a moment.
the ultimate ancient Roman beauty secret was rubbing a sweaty, dusty fighter's body crust all over your cheeks to achieve a youthful glow. But if you think scraping off dirty oil was a bad hygiene routine, just wait until the mighty Roman Empire collapsed. Welcome to the Middle Ages in Europe, an era we could accurately and literally call the Great Stink. When the Roman aqueducts fell into ruin and the grand public baths were closed or destroyed, Europe plunged into a dark, unwashed age. The medical experts and top physicians of the time came up with a terrifying, entirely misguided theory. They believed that bathing in warm water would open your pores. And if your pores were open, evil diseases, bad air, known as miasma, and the dreaded bubonic plague would rush right into your defenseless body and send you straight to an early grave. So, the logical medical solution? Stop washing. Completely. For centuries, taking a bath was considered a dangerous,
extreme medical procedure that you only did if your life depended on it. Kings, queens, and noblemen would go months, sometimes years, without a proper wash. Queen Isabella of Spain proudly bragged to her subjects that she had only bathed twice in her entire life, once when she was born and once on her wedding day. King James I of England reportedly never washed his hands, ever. The smell of intense body odor became a sign of rugged health and vigor.
For some devout monks and religious figures, remaining absolutely filthy was actually considered the odor of sanctity. Being covered in dirt meant you were closer to the divine, apparently because you successfully rejected the luxurious, comfortable sins of the flesh. People simply tried to mask the eye-watering, suffocating stench by carrying little pouches of sweet-smelling herbs or dousing their unwashed clothes in heavy,
overpowering perfumes if they were rich enough to afford them. Europe was essentially a continent-sized locker room that had not been aired out in 500 long years. True soap was almost entirely forgotten, relegated to an exotic myth from the ancient past. The narrow streets were filled with rotting garbage, the people were covered head to toe in fleas, and the air was thick, heavy, and absolutely ripe with the smell of unwashed humanity. It was a dark, greasy, and incredibly itchy time to be alive.
The entire continent was suffocating under its own heavy layer of dirt, and the absolute, paralyzing fear of water was keeping everyone permanently crusty. It genuinely seemed like Europe would never be clean again, doomed to wander in a cloud of its own making forever. But a massive rescue operation was coming, and it was not coming from local doctors or paranoid kings. It was coming from knights returning from the distant east, bringing a beautifully scented secret weapon that would completely change European hygiene forever. Before we find out exactly how the Crusaders managed to bring the magic of bubbles back to a desperately stinking continent, please take a quick second to hit that subscribe button for BrainBoost English Podcast. Subscribe now so you never miss another wild ride through the fascinating pages of history. Will Europe finally take a bath? Welcome back to the smelly side of history.
While Europe was busy treating water like toxic waste and wandering around looking like human dust bunnies, a completely different story was unfolding in the Middle East. Let us travel to the Islamic Golden Age, starting around the 8th century. Over here, hygiene was not considered a deadly medical hazard. It was actually an essential part of daily life and religious practice. The scientists, chemists, and scholars of the Islamic world looked at the crude, gooey,
burning ash paste of the past and decided it was time for a massive, fragrant upgrade. They took the basic concept of mixing oils with an alkaline substance, which they called alkali, the very root of the modern word alkali. But instead of throwing in whatever leftover animal fat was lying around the butchery, they used high-quality vegetable oils, primarily olive oil. Then they did something truly revolutionary. They added aromatic oils like thyme, jasmine, and rose.
But the real game changer, the absolute pinnacle of their chemical engineering, was making the soap hard. For the very first time in human history, we finally had the solid, sweet-smelling bar of soap. It was a massive leap forward. Instead of smearing a stinky medicinal ointment on your skin, you could actually wash yourself with a beautiful, fragrant, hard bar of lathering goodness. The cities of Aleppo and Nablus became legendary ancient manufacturing hubs, exporting these luxurious, sweet-smelling bars across the Middle Eastern world.
So, how did this bubbly miracle finally cross the borders into the great, unwashed continent of Europe? Enter the Crusades. Starting in the 11th century, thousands of European knights, lords, and soldiers marched east. They were expecting glorious battles and holy conquests, but what they were definitely not expecting was to discover that they were the smelliest people in the room. Imagine being a tough, heavily armored, completely unwashed European knight, arriving in a bustling Middle Eastern city and walking past a spectacular public bathhouse filled with steam, hot water, and the gentle scent of jasmine and olive oil soap. It must have been a mind-blowing revelation. Suddenly, the realization hit them. Perhaps smelling like a wet, rotting dog inside a tin can was not the peak of human civilization after all. Many of these crusaders packed their saddlebags with these magical, sweet-smelling bars of soap and brought them back to Europe as exotic, high-end gifts for their wives and families. Slowly, very slowly, the idea of getting clean started to look appealing again. By the 12th century, the knowledge of soap making had successfully traveled across the Mediterranean. European cities with access to vast olive groves, particularly in Italy and Spain, started making their own versions. This is where the famous Castile soap comes from, named after the region in Spain. It was a beautiful, gentle, white soap made entirely from olive oil. Soon after, the French city of Marseille joined the game, creating strict laws to ensure their soap was purely made from olive oil, completely banning the use of cheap animal fats. But do not celebrate just yet. Europe did not suddenly become a sparkling clean paradise. Oh no. While the recipe for good soap was finally known, it was incredibly expensive to make. And to make matters worse, the kings and governments of Europe looked at this lovely, bubbly new product and saw a fantastic opportunity to make a fortune. They slapped massive, crushing taxes on soap. For hundreds of years, soap was treated exactly like a luxury item. in the same category as fine silk or rare spices. The wealthy aristocracy could afford to smell like lavender and roses, while the poor peasants were stuck washing their clothes in the local river, using cheap,
homemade lye that burned their hands, and they simply accepted that body odor was their permanent perfume. The real turning point, the moment humanity finally embraced the bubble, did not happen until the 19th century. Welcome to the Industrial Revolution. Millions of people abandoned the countryside and crammed into dark, overcrowded, smog-filled cities to work in massive factories. The living conditions were absolutely horrific. The streets were filthy, the water was polluted, and disease was running rampant.
When terrifying outbreaks of serious illnesses began wiping out entire neighborhoods, the medical world finally had to wake up. Brilliant minds like Florence Nightingale revolutionized hospital hygiene, proving that simply washing hands and cleaning wards could save countless lives. Then, scientists like Louis Pasteur came along with the germ theory, confirming that invisible, microscopic creatures were the things making people sick, not invisible bad air or open skin pores. Suddenly,
being dirty was no longer a sign of holiness or rugged health. It was a recognized danger. The public demanded cleanliness. In response, governments finally dropped the ridiculous heavy taxes on soap. In Britain, the soap tax was famously abolished in 1853, and almost overnight, the floodgates of hygiene burst open. Simultaneously, the Industrial Revolution provided the machinery needed to mass-produce soap on a gigantic, unprecedented scale. Companies built massive factories,
churning out millions of affordable bars of soap. But they needed people to buy them. So they launched some of the most aggressive, guilt-inducing advertising campaigns in human history. They plastered posters everywhere, telling people that having dirt on your face was not just unhealthy, it was socially embarrassing and a moral failure. They basically convinced the entire world that if you did not use their specific brand of soap, you were a dirty, uncivilized outcast.
And it worked brilliantly. The whole world started scrubbing. From that moment on, the soap industry exploded into the multi-billion-dollar skincare empire we know today. We have liquid soap, antibacterial soap, exfoliating scrubs, and delicate facial foams. But the most hilarious, ironic twist of all? If you walk into a high-end, luxury cosmetic store today, you will find people eagerly paying $50 or $60 for artisanal, organic,
deep cleansing soap made from raw animal tallow and volcanic ash. We have literally come full circle. We are paying top dollar to wash our faces with the exact same greasy, ashy sludge the ancient Babylonians were boiling in the desert nearly 5,000 years ago. History is not just wild, it is incredibly, hilariously cyclical. So, the next time you step into a warm shower and lather up with your favorite, sweet-smelling body wash, take a moment to appreciate the bubbly miracle in your hands. You are holding the result of thousands of years of human trial, error,
stinky nights, gladiatorial sweat, and groundbreaking chemistry. Stay clean, stay curious, and thank you so much for tuning in to BrainBoost English Podcast.